Hey guys, it is Saturday here on Pagan Perspective. I'm your Saturday host Brendan, and this week we are talking about spirit keeping. So our question this week actually came from Piping Druid, and they say, I was wondering if you ever come across what is called spirit keeping, as in the binding of a spirit with its consent to a vessel, not the spirit itself per se, but a link to a vessel as to make it easier to converse with. A place that goes into a great deal on the subject is www.creepyhollows.com. Was just wondering what your thoughts on this was. I have not seen this subject broached much by the pagan community. So, this topic I went through and checked out the website that was listed and had a look at what they were talking about, and the way that I would explain the process that they were talking about was essentially creating a spirit house or a familiar house or like a vessel container to allow a ally, a familiar, a spirit, even like gods and goddesses. I use gods as a general overarching term. Divine beings perhaps, and being able to create a vessel, whether it be in like a chalice, in a rock, in a particular branch, a tool, a statue, being able to turn that into a physical place that that spirit can reside in or can be called into to converse and communicate with them. And it's like, that's the work that I have done previously that I think feels similar or akin to what they're talking about on this website about spirit keeping. And it is essentially creating like, I guess like a relic or a magical implement that can call and be used to connect directly to that energy, whether it be in allyship, in spell work, in ritual work, in healing, and having that readily available. And for me, like they said in there, it's really about building that relationship with that spirit, divine being, entity, familiar, before being able to do that. And looking at their website, they talk about how they do this work and then sell it on, and that kind of felt a bit strange to me in that sense. And it's really about that, like me forming a personal relationship into an object that I will then personally own, which then connects to that personal relationship I have with that spirit or deity, entity, familiar, whatever it is. And somewhere in this process I'm feeling like a step is missed out, and by purchasing it, it doesn't allow the practitioner to really go through that process of connection. And also, half the fun is actually finding that vessel, and whether it be like a rock that you might find on the beach that you go on a holiday, or it could be while you're out thrift shopping or op shopping, finding this like amazing, beautiful glass chalice for like a couple of dollars sort of thing. And it could be like something that you're gifted that the person's just like, I was called to give this to you, and that ends up becoming the perfect object that will become that spirit house or familiar house. I've done this work with one of my previous covens. When we work with a particular set of spirits within our tradition, we were creating spirit homes for them, and they're linked to stones. So we were actually spending the month working over stones and consecrating them and building a relationship with those spirits to then be able to create a house for them to be present within, and to have like a physical representation of them within our magical space, within our work. And that gives us that physical, tangible connection to those spirits that we can call upon and converse with and revel and enjoy a relationship with. And I feel like that's kind of taken away with this process of being able to purchase that item in like on the website and everything. And then again, people might not be able to do that, and that gives that people that kind of option. Like, I'd much rather be able to go to a workshop where this kind of skill set is presented and be able to learn that skill, as opposed to buying an end product that someone else has created, because the contracts and relationship that's formed, I find, is really personal. And my contract with a particular deity or spirit might be different to someone else's contract with a spirit or deity. And that's where it shifts and changes. So I think if you do purchase an item from this place or that's been worked by someone else, it's really about connecting to what's been created there, reworking your own contract, creating your own measures, your own boundaries, your own restrictions and freedoms, and connecting it to yourself and making it personal. And that's what all these interactions with spirits and familiars and deities are all about for me, is that real connection, like that personal connection, and not someone else's. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. You could do suggestions like for items that I've done this with has been paintings, with candles, particular plants I've also done with this. Also speaking to the spirit of the plant there, it kind of jewel inhabitant sort of thing. I've done it with, I'm trying to think, stones. I do actually, I think I spoke about this in the video we're talking about grounding. Like when I do a grounding stone, I'm actually putting that grounded essence of myself into there, so it actually triggers a connection with that kind of work. Statuary is a common thing. Masks are another thing, and that allows for, if you're doing aspecting or ritual possession, placing that mask over your face can allow you to communicate with that spirit, deity, familiar, god, whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's just go out and explore. You might end up with like a whole plethora of magical houses. You might have a whole entire community of places. Like build your own little city of houses on your altar. But yeah, have a fun process with it and explore it and connect. Like really it's about that connection, and some objects can be utterly weird and strange and you wouldn't personally purchase them for yourself, but particular like deity, god, spirit, familiar just calls out and you're there buying this pink glitter coded bookmark or something that certain said spirit, familiar, deity wanted, and that's how you can end up with weird, strange objects. Jewelry is another one. I think Rich mentioned that. Yeah, jewelry is another piece that can also end up being a spirit house. So explore, have fun. It could also be a relationship to deepen your gods with, to have that physical, tangible connection that doesn't have to be a $100 to $300 statue sort of thing, even though those are beautiful as well. We know we all want those, but we can't always afford them. But there's that sort of thing. And also I feel that with that work, if you do upgrade houses over time, like you could always change like a beautiful, humble little rock. That essence connection can be then put into a statue, or it could be put into an artwork, and they can develop and grow over time, just the same way we change clothes and we change styles, change houses quite often. There's always that change that can happen, and it's also the relationship might change and develop. Might be you might work with one particular god that when you started your relationship you're working with like maybe one of their lighter healing aspects or something, but as your relationship develops you go into like their darker, or you might go into like a war aspect or something like that. So just constantly checking in and just exploring the relationship and seeing where it develops and grows, and knowing that you can constantly upgrade those houses, just like hermit crabs. That's what I was trying to think of. Hermit crabs change their shells as they grow, so there's that kind of development that can happen. But yeah, I think that's mostly it for this week. I think it's subs week next week, so I will most likely see you in the new year. But leading up to there, everyone in the southern hemisphere have a beautiful midsummer. Everyone in the northern hemisphere have a beautiful Yule. If you celebrate it, have a wonderful Christmas, New Year's, whatever holidays you're celebrating, whether it be like Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. They're just the ones that are coming to my head right now, but I know there's a ton of other festivals that happen at this time of the year. Happy holidays to you, and to your loved ones, and to your families, and to your pets and your plants, and all those that are treasures to you in your life. But for today, much love and blessings, and blessed be. Mwah.